welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
and Lee.
How are you feeling, Lee?
I feel good. Why would I feel bad?
Alonso getting penalised out of the points?
He deserved it though, didn't he? let's all be fucking honest here.
it was maximum elbows, Alonso.
Yeah, that was. He was feisty, committed. Some people would say. Committed.
That's one way of describing it. So,
Let's be perfectly honest. He was lucky not to get. It was on the first lap because he kind of punted Lewis, like put him off so he could get fucking past him.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget this was in the States, and that is the home of rubbing is racing.
This is true. Yeah.
So does that mean yesterday was twunting is twacing?
Do you think that everybody do you think Alonso was just like, hey, everybody, look, it's me, Fernando Alonso. Remember me from Indy 500?
I must say, before we talk properly about the race, because we're on it, I think I do feel bad for him for the time penalty he got.
Which one?
Yeah, the one where he cut the chicane, I think, was it? Because he gave the time back, and he still got a penalty for it. Like he backed fucking right off because when he cut that chicane, like I say, I think it was the chicane. He went purple in that sector, which obviously there's something gone on, and but he dropped back like maybe a tenth more from Bottas than he had in the first place, but he still got penalised. I thought that seemed a bit wrong in my eyes. That
could have been the whole sort of totting up procedure.
No, that was the first one. That was the first.
Oh, I thought the first one was for punting Gasly.
No, I think it was. I think the penalty for that was before Gasly. I thought anyway. I might be wrong.
Oh, gonna have to look up the penalty documents, and there will be many.
There were many. I started looking at them earlier and decided it was just too much.
Let's have a look. Fernando Alonso correction penalty point total. That is never a good start. Document 61 incorrectly refers to a total of 3 penalty points for the 12 months. It should actually be 5. But other than that, hang on, let's have a look. Leaving the track and gaining an advantage. That was no further action on that one.
Well, shouldn't it be?
Hang on, there was one he got no further action on. One he got a 5-second for, and the one during the race was for Gasly.
Yeah.
Did the wording used to be? And excuse me for getting very geeky here. Leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
So that's for me. What I don't get is that someone like Fernando Alonso isn't just going to suddenly decide if I could just make a second up here in the chicane. You know, he's been doing it a while. He understands that sort of thing doesn't fly. I don't get this whole thing. You know, if you go in too hot, you outbrake yourself. You make a chunk of time up, and then you drop back and allow get rid of that time. I don't really see what the issue is there.
Well, let's have a look. This is the first leaving the track and gaining an advantage. That was apparently video evidence was reviewed in the VAR bunker in Switzerland.
Oh no, he definitely gained an advantage, but he definitely backed off it as well. I thought it at the time, but it was parroted again. The same thing was parroted on the BBC podcast and the race podcast as well. So he definitely gave it back. But it's I just hope we're not gonna go back into this world of overzealous officiating again. You know, we had that not so long ago.
Can I just check before we do this next session on overzealous officiating? Are we all wearing underpants in accordance with the podcast regulations?
I never wear underpants.
I was going to say, what are the regulations?
God knows, they change from week to week. Well, if you're Vettel, over your race suit.
Well, it's not in the regulations that you can do that. Also, whilst we're talking Sebastian Vettel, are we all watching Question Time in the UK on Thursday?
I think we probably will be.
That has become a must watch. I mean, they often do get.
There's always a sort of token celeb, isn't there? There's always a non-political.
Yeah, usually.
Body.
But for those outside the UK who don't know what Question Time is, on a Thursday night, usually quite late, it's a pre-recorded show from earlier in the day, but it's that's when it's broadcast on a Thursday night, and basically it's a panel of politicians, usually mixed or very opposing views. They take questions from the audience in particular parts of the country over political topics, and then Nigel Farage, if you know who he is, I'm sure you do, turns up at some point during every week's show. Now, I actually weirdly got into Question Time years ago as I used to go band practice on a Thursday, and then when I came home, I'd sit down with a cup of tea and it'd be time for Question Time. So I'd watch Question Time. I thought, this is fucking it. What a great ritual I got going on here. I haven't watched it for ages. I'm definitely watching it because Sebastian Vettel is on the panel with a load of British politicians on Thursday.
I mean, I assume, given his T-shirts and helmet design this week, he's going to be there on environmental matters.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the snorkel on the helmet and the underwater Grand Prix T-shirt.
Yeah, the Miami 2060.
Moving on to Miami, what did we think overall? I mean, the whole experience, the Super Bowl-ness of it all.
I was with it up to the helmets.
Yeah, with the actual race itself, I wasn't that bothered by. I'm kind of glad the safety car happened late on. Thank you, Lando Norris.
Well, it was Gasly's fault. Actually, it was Alonso's fault because Alonso damaged Gasly's car, who then took Lando out.
Gasly, he was on the radio, wasn't he, when it happened? Gasly. he wasn't paying attention because he was on his radio and just sort of drifted left a little bit too far. Anyway, I don't think it's anybody's, nobody hit anyone on purpose. It was an accident. Accidents happen. But yeah, everything surrounding the opening ceremony was. It felt very American, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. But as a British person watching, who doesn't watch, I don't watch a lot of American sports, but it always feels very false to me, the way that it's bigged up and introduced. It's just well, is the sport not entertaining enough?
As we found out yesterday, Martin Brundle doesn't watch much American sports either.
No, to be fair, the guy did look like the guy he was trying to interview.
Except about 1.5 feet taller.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tall. Must be an NFL player. What? Although saying that, the worst sort of razzmatazz type thing in an American sporting event I've seen, NASCAR held a non-championship race in the LA Coliseum earlier on this year, and it had a halftime show.
No.
They red flagged the race halfway through.
No.
And
on purpose?
Yes. And set up a stage.
Right. We'll just have a break now, lads, while Pitbull comes on.
No, it was Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yeah, they red flagged the race at half distance, and then Ice Cube did 10 minutes, and they all got back in the cars and started racing again.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, okay.
No to that.
This sort of whole thing doesn't affect me, the glitz and sort of Americanization of things. In America, I'm expected to be Americanized.
Yeah.
But it's why the Russian Grand Prix always felt like it was more of a fucking political angle than it was a race. But the halftime thing, I'm not in.
No, I'm as I say, I'm not trying to put it out. I'm sure for the US fans and people who they're trying to, they're casting their net far and wide in the US. They want to try and catch as many new fans as they possibly can, and it clearly worked because there were loads of people in in and around the circuit. With favorite drivers, and the caps and t-shirt sellers must have done really, really well over the weekend. But like Lee said, it's in America, so you expect it to be a bit Americanized. For me, it's just a little American.
It'll be interesting to see, I think, in the next few years, whether or not that is a sustainable level of excitement, or whether it gets
they did it in
toned
Austin,
down.
didn't they? Yeah, when Austin first started, they did it in Austin.
They had Michael Buffer, didn't they, introducing the drivers?
Oh yeah, it was a few years, 2017 now, something like that.
I think it was, yeah.
But that was great.
Yeah, I mean, things like that, I mean, Liberty said when they took over F1, they wanted 23 Super Bowls a year. And
that was one of them.
And I think it's a bit much having the whole massive show every fortnight, because you get a bit bored of it.
You kind of want each race to have its own identity, really, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't have a big American event in, like, Baku.
No, what you should do, really, is these events should be for the fans who have tickets to the races. They shouldn't really be on YouTube or televised for the television view. It's not really for television viewers, is it? It's for the event, the people who are at the event. And if I had tickets to go, I probably would have gone to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying.
What I meant by that was, if I had tickets for the race, I probably would have gone to the opening. Not if I had tickets to the.
Yeah,
I've got a ticket, but I'm not going.
I was chatting briefly to somebody who was there, and I hope you enjoyed yourself, Drew, and you didn't panic too much when Alonso made that lunge right into turn 1 near where you were sat. He was saying, as an event, as something to be at, it was incredible. It was fantastic. I don't think it carried over all that well on TV. It was an event, but it was all. We watch Super Bowl every year, but we don't get all the excitement in the host city, and usually watch a game. And
I think.
And where else do you get an excuse to eat nachos at 3 a.m?
But I think that's maybe what some people are missing as far as being online. Because I wouldn't say I've got an issue with it, even though I've got an issue with it. The way some Formula One fans are talking about Formula One right now, I'm really confused by it. People are acting like these new cars are terrible, and Formula One, every race has been awful. And they're like, I can't get on with Formula One anymore. I've been a fan for 40 years now. I don't. Yeah, well, that's it. And you go, well, I don't. I've been a Formula One fan since I was a child, and I sometimes I forget. I think these people either weren't watching during the Ferrari dominance, or they've forgotten it, because that was boring. That was really, really boring. Some of those races.
Yeah, during FP3, when Juan Pablo Montoya was in the commentary box on Sky, and they were discussing, him and Jenson Button were discussing refueling coming back into Formula One, and Montoya's for it. He says, I want to see a bit more, refueling and that, and Button was like, nah, because it was all pit passes in the pit lane. There was hardly anything happened on track. But then Montoya countered that. And I totally agree with Jenson Button. But, Montoya countered that by saying, yeah, but we didn't have DRS, and these cars can race a lot closer than we used to be able to. It's like, hang on a minute.
I mean, that is a...
Does it need reconsidering, or at least a trial, maybe, of a refueling race? Yeah, I don't want to see passes in the pit lane again, because, like you said, for me, that was the worst era of Formula One, refueling and
I don't think it was
strategies.
necessarily I don't think it was necessarily just the refueling that was the problem. I think here's the part of the episode where Lee gets heat again. I think
again
you had an unfortunate set of circumstances where you had like the refueling thing, so you could have the strategy involved. You also had a Ferrari team which were cheating, which had a tyre manufacturer making tires for them. So at the detriment of any other team that happened to have the Ferrari tires on them. And to couple with that, you also had the most unsporting driver Formula One's ever seen as Ferrari's lead driver. It was just like this alignment of bullshit that led to a pretty fucking dull time.
Yeah,
Also,
I
also
watched-
didn't help with the famous Bernie quote, "I don't care who wins as long as it's red."
Yeah. There was a reason for that. The Ferrari International Assistance thing came around. You know, it was pretty grim. But
Anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, if you got access to F1 TV or YouTube, even just go and have a look at and I'll say this with a pinch of salt, highlights of some of the races from back then. I mean, we complain about some of the boring races we get now. I mean, there were quite often no on-track passes, and it was all done in the pit lane based on fuel strategy.
No, come on. In fairness, there was usually one within the last 5 or 10 laps when Barrichello got told to move aside.
that's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah, no, but going back to what Montoya said, like it was. I've always been against refueling because, like I just said, I think it was the darkest time for Formula One. But the argument is kind of valid with this generation of cars. They are definitely able to race each other closer than they have been. I don't know, last 25 years maybe.
Just while we're in the middle of something serious, going to go all crofty for a second. Please don't press the red button on your Skybox right now. Seeing as that got said a lot on Saturday, how does everybody else in the world that gets the British commentary feel about that? I mean, it must piss them off something rotten.
Yeah, it must do. And also, did anyone else notice how much the commentators weren't watching the race
Yes.
this weekend?
Yes. The battle between Alonso and Stroll, which was actually, they were describing it like it was Alonso and Vettel. And then
it was Alonso and Stroll.
Yeah, and then they were shocked by a really good pass that Stroll made, which was actually Vettel.
Yeah.
I won't often say this because I generally like the commentary on F1 TV, but no matter how bad Crofty was this week, he was not worse than John Watson.
John Watson was on F1 TV.
Awful, like the worst commentary known to man.
He used to be really good at. He used to do the touring car commentary when I watched it in the 90s. I used to like John Watson.
Yeah, I'm sure he was great in the 90s. He's fucking too old. He's too old to be on it as like the ex-racing drivers take, because he was trying to talk. You know, like you'll get whoever the driver is will sort of talk you around a lap as the cars are going round. And it just made no sense. The amount of things, and I'm not one to shout at the TV.
Like hell.
No, not for the comment. I'll get excited about sport, obviously, but not for commentary. It never annoys me that much. But yeah, the words "fuck off, you senile old cunt" was used twice during the process of that race.
We may have to check this out.
His last race was his last race was the 85 European Grand Prix.
Yeah, so it was grim. Like, I know, because I was gonna actually switch to the Sky commentary because of that, but I didn't realize that if you're casting it from your phone, you can't change it on the fly on your phone. You have to plug your laptop into the computer to do it, and that was like 3 or 4 feet away from me.
Yeah, no, that's too much.
How much? Do we like overshadowed race wins, by the way? You know, like where a race win is like, yeah, but it's totally overshadowed by something else. What do you think John Watson's first win in Formula One was?
When was he racing? What years?
Sort of 70s.
Oh, was it the weekend that Villeneuve died?
No, it was the weekend that was it the weekend that you had his? It was the 76 Austrian Grand Prix. Was that when Niki Lauda had his? Oh, no, it was German
was
Grand Prix.
Nürburgring.
Wasn't it? He had his accident. Yeah, no, I thought I was going to say that's not a race. That's not a race to win. You're gonna want to celebrate, but no, it was the Austrian, not the German Grand Prix. So yeah, slight mistake
it was an
on my part
Austrian
there.
in Germany rather than an Austrian race.
No, it was fucking awful. It made the boring bits of that race worse.
One thing that was good this weekend, though, massive congratulations to friends of the podcast, Alice Powell and Abby Pulling. Great weekend between them in W Series.
Yes, yeah, it was good seeing W Series actually on TV. Now that Sky are properly covering it, it was a well put together show. Clearly, the same production team that Sky uses for the F1.
I think it's Whisper actually that do W Series.
It is. It's David Coulthard and
Really?
Jake Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For
David Coulthard being a director of W Series kind of helped them get the deal a little bit, I think.
Oh, fair enough. No, it looked very similar and almost identical in production values.
I think Sky are giving them more assistance this year because it was Channel 4 backed previously. And Sky have got a little bit more money to throw at it with everything of theirs being at the circuit anyway.
Yeah. So, but no, it was good coverage and good racing as well. I watched on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, managed to miss the Saturday race for varying amount of reasons. I was sim racing, but not at home. But we'll have a sim racing special coming up later this season at our new local sim centre.
No one destroyed my office. Sorry, carry on, everyone.
It's all right. We've got a cat trying to destroy the pod room. Yeah, I didn't say
Now
Saturday.
my laptop won't stop beeping at me.
Oh god. Didn't say Saturdays, but Sundays was a good race for definite. Shall we move on to the topic at hand? Because I think we've probably covered everything sort of around and outside the circuit, the race itself. So, the short summary: good opening few laps, got dull. Thank God for the safety car.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the circuit's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. To be honest with you, it's quite easy to follow where drivers are. Not like Saudi Arabia, it's just like, well, this looks like every other part of the circuit. And Sochi as well. Like Sochi's really difficult to know where anyone actually is on the circuit. But you see a car on the Miami circuit, Miami International Autodrome, which is now in the process of being ripped apart. And you knew exactly where they were on the circuit. It was an easy circuit to get to grips with, I think. It was, and it did produce some okay-ish racing, but it's not. It wasn't a classic race, was it? Put it that way.
No.
I enjoyed the start, kind of up to the pit stops. I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. After the pit stops started to lose a little bit of interest, up to the safety car.
Verstappen's charge was good.
Yeah.
Verstappen's early charge. But as soon as he got out front, I was like,
no, this is done.
That's yeah. Until the safety car.
Yes, it just needed it to sort of bring everyone back together and roll the dice a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was here shining the Latifi signal out of the window.
It wasn't Latifi, to be fair, was it?
It's just a giant picture of a wall.
I thought it was okay. Like I know they've got a lot of stick online that I kept seeing, but I don't know what else people expect. Sometimes it's going to be difficult to overtake on a circuit like that anyway. You could see that it was going to be hard to overtake. But I mean, the thing was there was always something going on. Like maybe we didn't have like the battle up the front that we would have liked to have had for the win, but there was always fights going on up and down the field. And the other thing I sort of realized was over the course of this weekend, there's no bad cars anymore.
No.
It's very true.
Every car on that grid is capable of scoring points, and that's fucking ace.
Yep.
I mean, it's the earliest in the season every team scored points for a long time.
Yeah, well, look
Definitely.
how long Williams went without points. What was it, like 3 seasons they went without scoring a point?
No, I think they only had 1 pointless season.
Or did they? Oh, right, I thought it was 2 or 3. But
There was
the,
one, wasn't there,
um,
where I think did someone get disqualified and Kubica like nicked a point randomly?
But it was the
yeah.
comedy German Grand Prix.
The white one,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember. But yeah, like I think that's great, and so in that case, like the rules have worked in that to that extent. They've fixed Formula One to the point where other people can score points, not just like the top teams. It seems to be a lot of Lewis Hamilton fans that have a massive problem with Formula One right now. I've noticed. Like this is the worst Formula One's ever been, and we need to
Oh no.
we need to dial the clock back immediately because mistakes have been made.
No, they haven't. This is good Formula One racing.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, there was. You're not going to find every race is amazing, but it's. We had the same conversation about Imola as well. It was, it wasn't France, put it that way.
It's not what Monaco will be. What you
very
just
true.
watched this weekend will not be the worst race you see this year.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
really weird as well that Monaco is the 7th race of the season this year. It's like, oh
Yeah,
god,
it feels late, doesn't it? But yeah, I think it's worth remembering as well, like the first time in Baku, shitty race. Probably because first time street circuit, everyone's still learning it. No one wants to be the person who makes a mess, so everyone will have been probably a bit cautious.
First time in Sochi, awful race.
Most times in Sochi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sochi did produce some good races.
the last one.
The last one was good. There was the infamous torpedo moment.
Mm.
I
There's
think
been some
I'm
good
struggling.
races in Sochi.
Yeah, F2 and F3. So, rather than sort of doing the standard team by team thing, because it is all over the place, because it's
We're just going to work from the back.
it's just mixed up. I mean,
Yeah.
the DNFs we can cover. Zhou Guanyu very quickly. Broken car.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
traffic.
and he didn't sound that enthused by it either, did he?
He got stuck.
Joe, we're going to have to retire the car. Oh no, I can't believe it.
Yeah, he got stuck in traffic in qualifying on the Saturday. Probably could have been a little bit higher up the grid, maybe. And yeah, I think maybe just that spoiled his event, obviously, and wasn't asked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he didn't seem bothered. He's like,
No.
oh no, I can't believe it, really. Oh,
Okay.
no, I'll pull into the pits then.
Yeah, they actually said what happened to the car.
I don't know if they have actually.
So I don't think
Well,
I've
can we
seen-
just talk about Aston Martin not having the right fuel temperature before the race?
Yes. How do you cock this up? How do you leave your petrol in the fridge for too long?
Maybe they wanted to chill it quick, so they put it in the freezer.
Because it doesn't weigh the same when it's not the right temperature, so they can't put it in the car because the weight will be wrong.
Yes.
Gonna play
So-
devil's advocate here. We've all gone to work, and then like you've been there for I don't know an hour or two, and then gone. Fucking hell! I didn't take the mints out of the freezer.
Yep.
That's how easy it is.
Yep. Definitely done that.
Yep. Unfortunately, Aston Martin couldn't nip to Tesco's on the way home.
No, to be perfectly honest, it's when it's chicken that's the problem because
Oh,
obviously
Wouldn't
you
have been a
can't.
problem if they were in Saudi Arabia, though, would it? They would have just borrowed some from Aramco, surely.
Yeah, but
As long as it wasn't on fire.
yes.
Well, fuel on fire is no good to anyone.
It's kind of the
really.
opposite problem of the cold fuel if your fuel is on fire.
Fuel on Fire sounds like a band that Paul would go to a festival to watch.
It sounds like a bad parody of Kings of Leon.
Doing Metallica
Who-
covers
who-
Kings of Leon style.
Singing Kings of Leon songs like James Hetfield.
Oh, according to official Alfa Romeo website, it was a water leak for Guan Yu Zhou.
Ah, right, okay. Well, there was plenty in the marine.
That's the issue. They don't have water around there, do they?
I'm gonna say I liked the arena.
It
The
looked
marine
all right,
arena.
actually. It looked
Did.
better than it sounded. I think. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, when it was all built and everything, it was absolutely sound
Mhm.
because let's be honest. That's the amount of publicity those boat companies will have got for putting that together. They couldn't have paid for that.
No, absolutely
So-
not. The top and bottom is as well. As soon as somebody says, like, if you took somebody to that track and said, "Would you like to watch the race?" You go, "Yeah." Do you want to watch the race in that car or that wooden boat? You go, "I'll watch it in the wooden boat. Thanks very much. That sounds like a great idea."
I would actually say no. Give us the 10 grand. I'll buy a general admission ticket and I'll keep the change.
Well, yeah.
You can take the man out of Yorkshire.
I mean, you didn't have to pay. But yeah, no, it sounded like fucking pretty grim, didn't it, for the old prices for tickets?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did not seem cheap at all.
I saw somebody saying they spent two grand on a general admission ticket.
Yeah, I mean, the VIP area was 8,000 and you got to watch the race on a big screen in a deck chair with table service.
Jeez.
I think you were allowed to use the swimming pools with the mermaids in.
I don't know. There was always a big
Somebody-
crowd there, but never a big crowd in the pool. I think you
Yeah.
had to be like pre-approved to be near the mermaid.
Police checks, that kind of thing.
Possibly.
Whatever the American equivalent to DBS checks are.
I mean, the big into watching sports in water in Florida, because the Jacksonville Jaguars have got a load of
You're
boxing.
trying to say they're big into water sports.
That's exactly what I was trying to avoid saying. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have got all these executive boxes with jacuzzis that you can
They've got
sit
like
in
an
and watch the
infinity
games.
pool as well. I think,
So
haven't
the
they?
executive boxes, the people with all the money, are well into their water sports.
Yes, this is accurate.
Water and sport. For the long version. It's the Jaguars. Watching them will just seem like a long time. Anyway, yes.
Here for a good time, not for a long time.
So, Guan Yu Zhou, Water Leak. Right, the next two DNFs, and I think we've got a bit to say about these, will be Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly.
Yep.
No one's fault, like I said before. Just something that happens. Lando could have been further to the left. Gasly probably could have
Now,
not
Gasly,
drifted left.
Gasly was actually saying he couldn't turn right.
I think they were
Yeah.
just both a bit unaware of what each other were doing, weren't they? And found themselves wanting the same
Gasly
bit
was
of
clearly
track.
on the radio when
Yeah.
Lando.
On the
Yeah.
radio, battered car. Oh shit, there's a McLaren.
I feel this whole "I couldn't turn" thing might be a race and driver excuse, because that's fine and like, okay, maybe you couldn't turn, but you seem to do an awful lot of turning before this incident where you couldn't turn. You know, the Alonso incident hadn't just happened; he decided to carry on with that car.
He got the line wrong for like 3 corners
Yeah.
before that, though, didn't he?
Oh yeah, no,
It was obviously a bit of a struggle, but yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
it
He
was a
didn't
struggle,
retire
but-
until the end of the safety
yeah.
car.
I think this had more to do with, as Flood said, he was on the radio, and as Lando said in an interview afterwards, when he was asked, "Well, could you have given more space?" and he turned around and he said, "Well, I don't really think it's my place to drive really close to a wall when I'm not the one having the issue."
Yeah, you've got a slow car in front of you. You'd kind of
Yeah.
hope if someone's carrying a bit of damage that they would be alert to a fast car coming up behind.
Yeah. So I don't really think it was fucking Lando's. It wasn't Lando's issue to fix.
No, but I mean, Gasly certainly didn't hit him on purpose. You know, it was just they were just yeah. Gasly was
No,
slow.
he didn't hit him on purpose. I think it was just it was an avoidable accident that I think is
I know what you mean. It's just a bit clumsy.
60% Gasly's fault. Say.
Yeah, maybe 0% anyone's fault. Just one of them things that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, racing incident. One of them was racing, one of them couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll try and do a team by team now, because I think Haas fits in sort of fairly well here with Mick in 15th and K-Mag in 16th.
Silly lunge from Mick, I think. Not lunge as such, but just silly positioning of his car.
Yeah, I think
He
he
was on
was.
for a point.
Yeah, he was on the verge of getting his first points. Sort of rush of blood to the head.
I
He
think
saw
again
a
the word
space,
for me
but-
is clumsy again, and just not
Yeah.
not very well thought out.
saw a space and thought I could put my car there
Mm-hmm.
without realizing that that's exactly where Vettel was planning on putting his car.
When Vettel was ahead of him at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's on the radio like, that was clearly my corner. I was like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
What happened with K-Mag? Because
I actually
Aboard.
do not know the answer.
he just
Okay.
he just struggled.
No, didn't someone go into? Wasn't there an incident as well?
I think
There was definitely an incident because he got a penalty.
Yeah. So there was something happened. Someone took a thump somewhere along the lines. I think it might have been him and Sonoda.
Oh, was it? This rings a bell now. Was it? Was it him and Stroll?
Or maybe it was Stroll.
he hit Stroll twice.
There's a
It's,
quality experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I was going to say, no matter who it is, it's what we would refer to as unsurprising names in this situation.
So hence, then yes.
And apparently K-Mag didn't have radio in qualifying, so he couldn't get the instructions, which is why he got out qualified by Schumacher.
What instructions are drive as fast as you can? Surely.
We don't know anymore.
I think it's a traffic problem as well, isn't it? Around that.
It was
circuit.
very trafficky, particularly Q2 in particular. I mean, Magnussen didn't get that far, but
We shouldn't take it away from Schumacher, though. This was the best drive of his career so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, he
Just-
might not have
just
left
to-
dripping in points, but it was good.
But it was up until the point where, as I say, I agree with Sean. Clumsy, not stupid, not reckless, not like, just come. You should know that's exactly what
yeah.
is likely to happen, and 1 point is better than none.
Unfortunately, none.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
would have
but-
gone home very happy if he'd stayed behind Vettel and scored a point.
Yeah, both of them tangling with Aston Martins, as they appear to have taken great delight in pointing out on their own website has.
Probably do Ricardo next as the other.
America 2, Britain 0.
Yeah, probably do Ricardo next to finish McLaren off, because that was another.
That was an anonymous drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking participation award here.
Didn't he have problems in practice, which is why he led to a poor qualifying?
No, they couldn't get the car started in Q2, so didn't get a chance to do his full runs.
Yeah.
Just did not have the race pace. Also got penalised for going off and gaining an advantage.
Yeah, there was as we trigger happy with that, but that's Marshall. Well, not Marshalls. That's stewards for you.
Yeah. But yeah, another non-weekend for him. Just got to wonder if Colton Herta was there going, I could definitely do this.
Pato Award.
Conspicuously didn't really see either of those two. You would think with it being, with McLaren having quite a big US fan base, that actually they would have been parading them, but obviously had a better offer.
I think the death knell for him was in qualifying, wasn't it?
Yeah, he
Somebody
didn't.
ordered
It
a
didn't
Hurricane.
go well in quali.
It didn't go well. Well, he was just kind of doing what Daniel Ricciardo's been doing in qualifying, and then his teammate went and pulled it by the scruff of the neck, and essentially like that McLaren didn't really have that time in it. When Lando went third in Q2, and then all of a sudden you're looking at the timesheet and like Lando Norris is up there in third, Daniel Ricciardo is about to drop out in 14th.
Yeah, but then during the race, Norris did kind of go backwards. They got his pit call very wrong, didn't they?
Yeah.
He'd have been in the points if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, possibly, but he wasn't, and he was near the back when he had his accident with Gasly.
No, that's what I mean. But as soon as like his race was fucked by 4 seconds extra pit stop.
Something like that.
Yeah, because he came out right into the middle of a battle and
Yeah,
lost,
it was
lost 4
very,
places.
very bad track position after that pit stop.
And I think the big problem he had there was he was on, he's at a circuit where you can't overtake in a car that wasn't working well anyway. and he's stuck in a DRS train there at that point. It's if it was a different circuit, maybe he could have done something to try and work his way through that. But if you're on a circuit where it's already difficult to overtake, and you've got 3 people ahead of you, all with DRS, you're done, aren't you? That's you for the afternoon.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he just struggled after that. I mean, Zach Brown said on the grid, actually, before the race, they thought they were going to struggle because they just didn't have the race pace for it. And that, I think, just that pit stop just compounded everything.
I think it's showing how good Norris is, though. Like especially on his 1 lap pace. Like he shouldn't have started that high up. That's one of the things about going backwards during a race. Is it shows you've kind of done your job on Saturday, but the car isn't doing its job on the Sunday.
Yeah, it's kind of the anti-cool thought.
Yeah.
Right, where shall we go next? How about Tsunoda to wrap up AlphaTauri?
I honestly could not tell you anything about his race.
He took part.
Oh, I couldn't tell you anything about Tsunoda's race either. Next.
Lost out at the start to Alonso, and first one to pit on the mediums.
We're scraping here.
Yeah, and he said the hards didn't work, and he was good enough for 12th. God, that's so fucking beige.
I think we have the participation award.
Yeah. Yep, I definitely think we do. Right, on to teams in the points.
Well, teams in the points, but a driver who didn't make it so first, thanks to penalties, as we already discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alonso then. Well, I mean, we've said it. He was
He was coming through, wasn't he?
He was feisty all weekend. There was very little in the way of stopping him, including
apart from Lewis Hamilton,
including solid objects.
Yeah,
I mean, in a
great
way,
start. I mean,
yeah.
He spotted a space like to the left of the track that nobody was occupying, and just went and late braked into that gap and made loads of spaces up. Found himself near Lewis Hamilton and decided to use him as a brake instead.
It was nice to see him having
Xbox. Sorry, Sean. Go on.
I was gonna say it's nice to see him having the car to actually go for those kind of moves and challenge people. But yeah, maybe a little bit less pinball.
It was like an Xbox start.
Well, away we go.
Like you stick sort of light damage on the Xbox and then fucking YOLO it into the first corner. Yeah, that's exactly what it was like.
Talking of things like that, Formula Lee is back. We've been running it on Discord, and we're starting to week 1 now, and it's Spain and Aston Martin in the dry, by the way.
There you go.
Got until Monday the 23rd. I thought I might as well get that in because I keep forgetting to mention it. Thanks to Adam Smith for taking it over now from the spreadsheet intern. But he is now our spreadsheet and design guru. Ocon then, moving up. Finished 8th.
Again, can anyone remember anything Ocon did during the race?
Well, yeah, I mean, he started right at the back, didn't he? So he made the hard tyre last very well. Got quite lucky that the safety car fell at the time when he...
But what did he do?
He managed his tyres.
He probably can't remember because he had a mild concussion from the Saturday show.
Well, yes.
He just had a solid race, didn't he? That's all.
Kept his nose clean, didn't trash his tyres, got lucky with the strategy.
I think that's probably the best you can say.
Listeners listening through headphones may be able to hear the squeak of a cat
can
toy.
I hear that.
Yes, the cats have found the toy box. Right now,
I just want to point out. I'm very sorry if anybody else can hear noises from my microphone, but it's very windy here.
It is
all
windy,
of a sudden,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's like winter again. It's like, what's going on?
It's classic TT weather today, misty and windy and a bit shite.
I mean, we had summer on Saturday. we're done for the year now. We're finished. Right, Lance Stroll, and Sebastian Vettel.
Was Aston Martin?
Aston Martin in general, a binary race.
Well, no, not really, but we've already discussed the fact that they made contact with Haas.
Yes.
Frequently. I mean, Stroll appeared to get bumped by everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not where we expect that team to be, though. Now, is it?
No.
I'm a bit confused by it, if I'm perfectly honest.
I don't know. I think it is where we expect them to be now. Our end of the points, because they haven't made the progression that we thought they were going to do 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, we expect it for this year, but just in general, like I don't see what the future of that team was. Whereas, I mean, 2 years ago when they came out with the plan for the pink Mercedes, and we thought, oh well, they've pulled a fucking blinder here. They're going to use Mercedes car. They're going to get some decent results out of it, and then they're going to have loads of time to build their own car, which is what Haas did, and that worked. We were kind of expecting, could Aston Martin like join the top teams or like be as close to the top teams as possible?
Certainly, if you believe Lawrence Stroll, that's exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't really see what the future of that team is now.
I do.
Sale.
I do. Vorsprung Dirk Technic.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that could possibly be the best thing that could happen because there is... I think it's undeniable now that Lawrence Stroll had... I know I'm repeating myself from last week, but Lawrence Stroll had something to do with the issues Williams were having last year when they started to go downhill.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, that means he might have all the money in the world, but he's pretty fucking toxic if you're trying to run a racing team.
Yeah, because I mean, his large cash and other sponsorship inputs. I think he brought JCB into the team as well, which is now with Aston Martin.
Yeah, he drove it straight through their performance.
Yeah. Something about him, and I think I've said this before. He just smacks of micromanagement.
Yeah.
Yep. It didn't work for Ferrari, did it? Do you remember Marchioni was for that Ferrari was probably good enough to win races, world championships probably.
And every time Marchioni turned up at a race, everyone shat themselves and it all went to crap.
Well, he turned up to every race, didn't he, in the end?
And everyone shat themselves and turned into crap at every race.
Yeah, like he micromanaged everything to such a level that Ferrari fell apart when they probably had the personnel and the machinery to really take it to Mercedes.
Yeah, but I think Stroll's trying to do everything in his image at Aston Martin. I once had a boss who, legend has it, before I started with the company, used to welcome everyone back from the Christmas break and tell them things like, grab a paperclip out of a drawer and go, don't forget, this is my paperclip. I own everything, and everything you do in this company is for me.
That sounds a bit
I'd have
intense.
pissed on the floor and walked out.
There you go, that's yours.
Yeah. Congratulations, you now own this pit.
Yeah, with the wages that company paid, they were taking it anyway. Moving swiftly on. I just think, working for Stroll must be challenging, to put it tactfully.
Look, I can't even. We probably touched on this last week if we were talking about this, but like you've got I can't say Schnafnauer. I can't say his first name.
Otmar.
I'm the other way round. I
not
can't
good
say
at
the
it.
surname.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say both of them at the same time, like one after another. They're not good words to be put together.
They are not.
But
It's a very German name.
it is.
One name you need 3 pints to say. One name you can't say after 3 pints.
But like that guy, he fucking held that team together through the absolute worst parts of it. You know, and was clearly treated with utter contempt once Stroll got in there, to the point he left the team. You know, and that can't be good. That can't be good for a team, because, I mean, of the people that are on the grid, I think he comes across as one of the ones which is probably okay to work for.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go and take a person like that out of a team, what does that do for everybody else? You know, the leadership he must have built up over the course of like Force India, then into Racing Point, into Aston Martin. For them just to strip that away because, well, whatever's going on inside, it just doesn't seem like a great move.
It's kind of the
And
same.
let's face it, it must be shit, because apparently Alonso was offered a load of money to go there. Alonso loves making bad decisions, and he didn't know.
It's
but
kind of the
now
same
look who he's working for.
for Otmar. That's very true. But yeah, it was sort of, I guess, the same with
Otmar
their
spoke too
decision.
many Chiefs, didn't he? Did
To-
he say that was
you
the
ca-
reason for his leaving?
You can't have 2 popes, I think. Right, I'm just going to have to sort of go silent for a minute. If there's any shouting, it's because I'm removing a cat from a bloody wine rack.
But yeah, I think we're getting rid of Otmar is sort of the same kind of energy to when they got rid of Perez. I mean, obviously, yes, you would be tempted by Vettel, but Perez very much kept that team going and got them good results when money wasn't there and all sorts of drama was going on in the background, and he pulled them through, got the main race win, and then, okay, bye.
Well, yeah, they were told, weren't they, beforehand that they weren't getting the. He wasn't getting a seat.
Yeah.
And that he learned that before the race win.
Yeah.
It's absolute buyer's remorse on Vettel, though, surely.
I don't know about buyer's remorse.
If you could have a do-over, you'd want Vettel and Perez.
Yeah.
If you ignore the fact that the other driver's surname is Stroll.
Well, that's
I
the
think-
problem, isn't it? I get the feeling Lawrence Stroll walks into that team, and it's like the really bad TV things he does, like because he's not a public speaker, but when he walks into, I think he walks into a team meeting every week and just like, why is my son not winning races yet? I need Lance. I need Lance up there immediately. He needs to be winning races. He's the greatest driver of all time. It's like, come on, Lawrence. You know this isn't true. I apologize to all Canadian listeners for that impression.
It's all right. We usually apologise to all Canadian listeners for the amount of piss we take out of Latifi. Funnily enough, we're doing Williams next.
But just quickly before we move, the problem is, as far as the Vettel thing goes, he's often on the same piece of tarmac as Lance Stroll.
Yeah, they were pretty much neck and neck
Yeah.
the whole way through that. Them and the Hasses, and I think Gasly was in that neck of the woods at one point. They were all just tripping over each other.
And that's not what I expected to happen.
No.
I didn't expect Lance. I thought Vettel would use Lance Stroll as like a cheap toy to like boost his confidence again, and he just rough Stroll up a little bit, and then before you know it, he's back to Seb Vettel that we all was hoping he'd be back for. More and more, I think it's going to be him that retires now.
I mean, don't forget, Vettel's spending most of his time sort of nurturing Mick.
Yeah, well, look how that went for him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be doing that a great deal more. So, Williams, Latifi didn't crash.
I mean, crashed a little bit in practice.
Bonus.
Yeah, but didn't end up in a wall. Now, apparently, there were upgrades on the car this week, but only Albon got them.
Yeah, so it's
Seems
clearly
fair.
Albon is number one in that team already.
Yeah.
I think we could have told you that before we saw parts going on cars.
I could have told you before the season started.
What more can you say about Latifi?
He was there.
He was there. He was polite. He was sociable. He finished 14th. Yeah, I'm done.
It was a clean race for him, as far as I can tell. He didn't have any drama, but that's about it.
The bad thing for them is Latifi is still he's still Latifi of last year. You know, he's still Latifi that's there, generally propping the rest of the grid up, not really doing a lot. Pretty safe pair of hands to get a car home most of the time. But the problem is that I don't think Albon scoring points in that car is the same, or doing good qualifying results is the same as George Russell doing in it, because I don't think it's a bad car.
No,
So, you know,
you'd want to see Latifi a lot closer to Albon, wouldn't you? Because
yeah,
you know, for every time Albon gets a point at the next race, someone like Alpine or AlphaTauri is going to have both drivers in the points.
yep.
And then you end up right at the back.
And it's Latifi that's bringing Williams down.
It is. Is he still behind Hulkenberg in the standings?
Yeah, it's still 21st in a 20-driver championship.
Great. It's good. Excellent.
Yep, the Mazepin Award for Dad's Got Cash. Oh, that's about it.
That's the Mazepin Award. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Albon, on the other hand, with his lucky red hair,
Yes. Very jaunty.
It worked.
he's scored points twice with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, but apparently Ted Kravitz and said to Jos Capito off camera that if you I assume it was off camera because I haven't actually seen it, but if Alex scores points in Miami, maybe I should dye my hair red for the next race. So Ted might turn up in Spain with red hair.
Now that would be something to see. At least nobody would be saying, "Where's Ted?" You'd be able to pick him out.
Yeah, in Spain as well. Hashtag Where's Ted?
But yeah, Albon's definitely making the most of the second chance that he's been given. I don't want to say second life because that was terrible. If anybody ever played
most
it,
of his, I think Alex Albon, as Max Verstappen's teammate, was much like Pierre Gasly, given the shitty end of the stick, should we say?
yeah,
I think these are perfectly capable drivers, more than capable. Race winners, especially in Gasly's case, he's already won one. But I think Albon in a mid-grid car could potentially win a race. I just hope he can move. Up the. I don't mean this in a derogatory way to Williams either, but I hope he can move up the grid. I hope he can find a seat that's better than that Williams currently is. Whether that's at Williams next year, if they get it better, I find it unlikely at the moment, but stranger things have happened.
He could be in the right place, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it might take a little bit of investment, almost to a Jenson Button level with like BAR to Honda. But if if Alfa Romeo, no, fuck off, Lee. If Audi end up choosing Williams as its way into Formula One, it might not be a bad place to be.
Yeah. True.
because we know there aren't any Germans.
Yeah, anywhere.
Well, even if Audi were to buy Aston Martin, you've kind of got to assume that frees up a seat there because Stroll probably wouldn't be kept on, you would assume.
Maybe not.
No.
I mean, what would the future be for Stroll if...
Do you reckon you get him free with the team?
He would continue to be rich.
True.
Yeah.
He's got a good career in continuing to be rich.
He'd turn up in like a WEC or something, wouldn't he?
I reckon his dad would buy an IndyCar team.
Oh, that could be fun.
Just to give him a race in that, or Stroll on an oval.
Might actually be quite
Oval.
good on on oval, to be fair.
Yeah, but you got to use your mirrors on ovals.
Only if you're scared.
Only if you care about the other people.
Did anybody see? And this is a warning to all listeners. Did anybody see James Corden pissing off Danica Patrick?
No.
I saw a lot of James Corden, but I tried to zone it out.
I managed to avoid James Corden all weekend.
Yeah,
I hate him, like genuinely. I know some people lie.
I dislike him.
Mm-hmm.
No. I fucking hate him. Like the last thing I want to see in his eyes is my headlights.
Surely, also the first thing you want to see. Anyway, basically Sky. He was with McLaren for promotional reasons, but Sky pulled him to one side for a quick chat before qualifying, and he was having a quick chat, and he was just like, "Well, I was always a Jenson Button fan, and Jenson was stood there, so we obviously just kissing ass at Jenson Button." And then he was just talking about, do you carpool karaoke? Do you actually do that? Is this? He's just like, oh yeah, it's just like it's not green screened or anything. No, let's be honest, we know it's on a fucking trailer.
Yeah.
We've seen the pictures.
He
It's just like basically you drive with the sun behind you, and then you turn around and you drive with the sun in front of you, and then you just do that in a loop. So no, I haven't really done any driving. He's just like, but if I'm driving in a loop, maybe I could give IndyCar a go. And Danica Patrick rolled her eyes and went to walk away, and then just turned around to him and just went, yeah, 230 mile per hour. Just keep turning left. That's how easy it is.
What, did Danica Patrick do IndyCar? She's never mentioned that before. You'll be telling me she did NASCAR next.
She also had many memories around Florida, apparently.
It's James Corden's fault that Jenson Button didn't win Sports Personality of the Year.
Right.
Because
Get the
he was
popcorn
doing
out on away this.
He was doing the champion a bit. You know how, like, if you're a sports personality, you have another celebrity pleading your case, and you
James
had
Corden for Jenson Button.
You had that overgrown fucking blonde child on the Gavin and Stacey set campaigning.
Oh, doing
for
the
fucking
Smithy
buttons.
bit.
Oh, fuck my life! It's his fault. His fault.
Whilst we're veering off, we are going to talk about, if we're going to talk about this guy for a little while. I did read an article about about him a while ago, and it was this person who had submitted this piece of writing was on a business class flight from America to the UK. And this part of the James Corden was also in the business class, but he, didn't want to be bothered by anyone. He sat there with his headphones on, and he was sat there for a good 10 minutes, just sort of, scrolling through his tablet, headphones on, not looking up at all whatsoever. And then this woman got on with a screaming baby, and she's, they pointed her to her seat, and it's right next to James Corden, and straight away this guy's like, he's totally going to ask either to be moved or for her to move. This woman sits down with this baby. James Corden just stares out the window. Apparently, doesn't pay any attention. The flight happens. Everything's all good. They all get served their food, and just as it comes for time to land, this woman sort of stands up, and baby in one arm, she's trying to get her bag sorted as well with the other one. And she turns around to James Corden and goes, "For fuck's sake, James, I'm holding the baby. Could you at least help?" It was his wife.
Wow.
He'd been ignoring her most of the flight.
Clearly a doting father.
Oh,
and
yes.
Fucking lovely relationship he's in there. Oh.
While we're on the subject of people not being
I'm
very
so happy. So just quickly, I'm so happy he wasn't really nice. Just like to say that. I really did. For the way that was going then, I thought, oh, what did he help with the fucking luggage and all sorts, and like sound the baby's head or something.
James Corden graffitied my baby.
We've all seen the thing as well, haven't we, with Patrick Stewart that he did with the awards show years ago, where Patrick Stewart basically tears James Corden a new one for saying that if you're going to be presenting awards, don't stand at the back and look bored when other people are talking. And then Corden just goes on full on twat mode, It's ridiculous. Like, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it because
Yeah, I remember.
you'll hate him even more.
Well,
if I can just change the subject and get a shameless plug in, talking to people that are useless at IndyCar. If anybody fancies a laugh, I'm doing the iRacing Indy 500 on Saturday.
Nice.
I think it's about 2 o'clock UK time. I'm going to be streaming it on Twitch, and I'm hoping to get further than lap 1, turn 2 this year. There was a slight incident last year when I crashed at turn 2 from pole position and took out a third of the grid.
Oops.
Did they
Yeah,
all
yeah,
retire?
that's what most. Yes, they all had to retire. There was no free fast repairs,
Oh no.
and the "Are you twat" from Sean wasn't aimed at me.
No,
but
it was a cat.
it was a cat, but it was what most people I think were calling me at the time. I even made the worst of iRacing video that week.
Nice.
Did you really?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Moving on from my embarrassment, the other Alfa Romeo, Bottas in 7th, was doing quite well in 5th, and then he just lost concentration and let a pair of Mercs behind him.
Because he's so used to moving over for them.
What I want to know is, how did James Vowles get on the Alfa Romeo radio?
Valtteri is James.
Toto and
Didn't- I
Frederick
think he
Vasseur
just
are
ha-
good friends.
Yeah, they are. But I think he just outbraked himself, didn't he,
Yeah.
into that hairpin, and just one Mercedes went by, and oops, there goes the other one.
He bottled it. Let's be honest.
Let's face
Valtteri
it,
bottled.
let's face it, as the first one went past, oh, I'm used to doing that. Oh shit, there's 2 of them.
Hang on, that's my car.
Yeah. After some laps of Valtteri will really enjoy seeing that Mercedes in his mirrors. Oh fuck.
Am I the only one that's wondered how good that car might actually be with another driver in it?
What, instead of Bottas?
Yeah.
Well, it's not very good in Guang Yu Zhou's hands, is it?
Well, no, that's for me. We've got nothing to offset it with. Like we've got no. It's we're in. Remember Good Williams days where we used to say, "I wonder what that car would be like if it was a decent driver in it." When it was Bottas and Massa. That's exactly what's going on now with the Alpha. Is it as good as is it a third place car, like third best team?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say, and it's hard to say what progress they've made because you had a pretty much phoning it in Kimi last season,
Yeah.
and somebody in the other seat.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really it's been a really good start to this season for Alfa Romeo. They made a huge step forward, but I think a lot of that is to do with the Ferrari power unit, which has obviously come on leaps and bounds.
And might even be legal this year.
So
Might be.
far.
Might
So
be.
far.
Oh, they haven't been found out.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, it's it depends what kind of progress Alfa Romeo keep making. I think Bottas puts that car pretty much where it is. Sort of right in the middle of the midfield.
He's been getting a lot out of it. Certainly when you compare it to the last couple of seasons.
No, but the thing is, Bottas was always dead good at qualifying. He had an excellent qualifying record, even when he was just behind him, for instance, up against the best qualifier in the history of Formula One.
Ayrton Senna.
No, Lewis Hamilton. And so he's always been good on a single lap, but we've seen for years and years and years, Bottas loses pace partway through a race, or just doesn't quite have the out and out race pace of his teammate. I think it's unfair I think it's overly fair on Bottas to just suddenly decide he's fixed that problem and he's getting every fucking tenth out of that car.
I mean, you could look at it the other way. Because we've been saying about McLaren having great one-lap pace and then losing it under racing conditions. What if that car isn't a one-lap car? So he's absolutely wringing the neck out of it in qualifying, but still not putting the car where it's capable of being during the course of a race.
No, but
That's that's
He's
what
been doing well though. Like he was on pace with Lewis all the way through that race. Like Lewis could not get past that Bottas in that car, so he was at least on pace with a Mercedes.
So yeah, he's struggling in qualifying, but race pace is a lot better
Or
now. And I mean,
he's qualified well though in other races. Let's not forget he qualified well this weekend.
Yeah,
as well, didn't he?
row 3.
but I mean,
Yeah.
one mistake and he loses 2 places because there's 2 cars so close behind him that he was keeping on pace with.
I think, like I said, I think that was just a bottle. But what I mean is that I think if you stuck somebody else in that car during the race, that car would go quicker.
You're saying somebody else could get it on podium?
Maybe.
I mean, he was looking good for 5th, but don't forget, I mean that corner at turn 17. I think every driver had at least 2 running wide there.
Yeah, I think he was just desperate to stay ahead of the Mercedes. I think because don't forget, he's in his head. You can see he's made that personal. Because he's said as much in interviews. Even in qualifying, he said how happy he was to be ahead of Lewis. There was the interview he did on F1 TV afterwards. Like he was shaking after qualifying. So he's made it personal in his head, and that's great if he's using it as fuel. But I think under those restart conditions, when he's got Lewis behind him and the guy that replaced him on fresher tyres, I'd maybe just tried a bit too hard.
Possibly, but I think Alfa Romeo Bottas is still a work in progress. Mercedes broke him. Well, Williams broke him. Well, the British Grand Prix that he could have won broke him.
What didn't break it?
I don't think he's ever been broke. I think he's just what he is. I think he's an excellent number 2 driver that's probably going to get a car to within half a second of what it can actually do. But he's never going to be the driver to find the extra half a second. There's only so many Schumachers, Hamiltons, or Alonso's or Verstappens. There has to be Gerhard Bergers and Jean Alesi's, and he's an excellent Gerhard Berger.
Well, he's Finnish. He will spend most of his time drunk. We'll see how the rest of this season pans out. I mean, it's his first ever season as a number 1 driver. He's the one having to provide the most feedback because he's alongside a rookie.
I don't think he's a bad driver. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what I'm saying. And I think he's going to have a good season. But it would just be nice for a better comparison with his teammate.
You're listening to 3 Legs, 4 Bottas.
Moving on, we can actually do the top 3 teams in order. Mercedes in 3rd, George in 5th, Lewis in 6th. Still a long way to go with the car.
Yeah, less bouncing, but also not much more pace.
But practice 2, that car was properly quick.
Yeah,
It was only Leclerc's pole lap that was quicker than George Russell's FP2 time, I think.
Yeah, but even single lap pace is great, and Mercedes actually, if they are sorting out a single lap pace, that's great for them. But the race pace is still.
The long runs were there. The long runs were comparable to the Red Bulls.
But the safety car, they were not.
No. In second practice, in the second
practice doesn't count for anything.
No, it does when the grip level comes up on the track, and it fucked their porpoising problem again. I'm not saying they don't have issues. What I'm saying is that pace they had on Friday was real. Now they just need to work out how to make that pace consistent, and they're there.
Yeah. Well, they'll there or thereabouts. Yeah. I still think it's the gap that they have in race pace. I think is still, even by Mercedes standards, possibly too big to close over the season. Everybody keeps saying, and I've seen a lot of this on Twitter, and I'm sure you have as well, Lee. Everybody keeps saying about 2021 how Mercedes didn't have the best car, or they pulled it back to have the best car. It's just like, Yeah, but they all, they were the second best car, but it wasn't that far behind at the start of the season. It was pretty close, neck and neck between them and
Yeah.
Red Bull for a few races.
Yeah.
And then Red Bull did pull out a bit of a gap before Mercedes managed to turn the tables and turn it around. They're not where Aston Martin were. They weren't where Aston Martin are this year. That's the kind of gap they've got to pull back again. Do you know what I mean? Where Aston Martin were last year compared to this year, that's the different. Oh, I'm not making any sense here.
No, I get you.
I know what you mean.
That's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference that they're going to do. Aston Martin look like as we discussed earlier on, like they might be like front runners because they're sort of making headway here, and obviously they were nowhere near the front last year, and then this year it's all gone a bit wrong for them.
Mm.
I think that gap is too big to close.
I think if it was a case of who's a good example of it, McLaren is a good example because they don't seem to. It doesn't seem to be the brake problem for them anymore. They just don't have the downforce levels in that car. The good thing and the bad thing for Mercedes is they seem to have a single problem, and they need to sort out the porpoising problem that they've got. I don't. Don't get me wrong, it might end up there. It's not possible. It's not possible to solve that problem with that concept. And I think Wolff he didn't say that they were talking about doing it. He did say that he wouldn't write off bringing back the old concept car that they brought to Spain for testing. Was it Spain that they had their car?
Yeah, the shakedown test.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was only Bahrain when we saw the lack of side pods.
Yeah. But I think that car, I still stand by that Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are a bigger threat over the course of a season to Max Verstappen than Charles Leclerc is, because I don't believe Charles Leclerc can win a world championship. Certainly not against Max Verstappen.
Not against those teams we're talking about, Ferrari and Red Bull as well. I think Red Bull have, and I know that they've brought upgrades as well, but that Red Bull straight line speed is something else.
Mm. The only thing Ferrari's got going for them is they haven't updated that car yet this year.
They've upgraded the engine, haven't they already? The power unit?
Yeah, they have.
No, but there's been no car updates.
No aero updates at all.
No aero updates at all.
I thought did they bring something to Imola, or was they the team that didn't bring anything to Imola?
They were the ones that didn't.
Okay.
I think there is a way that Leclerc can win a championship over Verstappen, and I think it will come down to reliability if it happens. Because Red Bull have had reliability problems so far this year. They seem to be on top of them, but if they bring an upgrade and it brings the problems back.
Unless it happens in the middle of the season, I don't think it'll matter. I think if by the time we get to the arse end of the season, I think Verstappen will be over a race win ahead anyway.
I don't know. I mean, Perez, since we're doing all the top three, Perez had power problems this weekend. Lost straight line speed.
Yeah, that was a software thing, though, wasn't it? I'm not. Do we put that down as a reliability
was it a
issue?
sensor failure or some shit
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that? It was one of these
sensor
control
failure.
alt delete jobbies.
Yeah,
It's still loss of power. He didn't have the power to pass Carlos Sainz, whereas a healthy Red Bull would have passed Carlos Sainz.
I think just Perez couldn't pass Carlos Sainz. I don't think he was down on power.
Because Sainz
I
had a
think
shitty pit stop, didn't he? He lost time in the pit.
He was down on power. He was down 25,
Yeah, but
30
only
horsepower.
for half a lap or something like that. He
No,
lost.
like for the rest of the race.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, that's
think
what
they got-
Christian Horner said when they were talking to
Oh
him.
right, okay, cool. I didn't think he was.
Yeah, he was. They managed to fix the problem,
Oh well, that
Which
explains. Okay, at least that explains why he couldn't get past.
which meant that he was not losing 100 and whatever it was horsepower a lap, and 100 horsepower power deficit. But he still had about 25 to 30 horsepower deficit, which is strangely enough just enough for the Ferrari to stay ahead of the of the Red Bull.
Yeah,
But
what was it?
what was
that,
the speed trap on the? was at Speed Trap on the Saturday. Sergio Perez was 342 kilometers an hour, which is 231 miles per hour.
Crazy.
So when the power's there in the Red Bull, yes. I think the Red Bull is the fastest car.
It is definitely in a straight line.
Yeah. I mean, going to Spain, realistically, we should be back in Ferrari territory. Look, in the medium speed corners.
Yeah, it's never been a Red Bull favourite, has it, Spain?
Apart from that year, Max Verstappen won.
Well, yeah, but that was
Yeah.
because two Mercedes drove into each other in front of him.
Yeah.
There is that.
Yeah, it's a tough one to say. Who's gonna come out of the whole thing the best, because the Red Bull reliability concerns me. Yeah, it's got the speed. It's definitely got the drivers. But
Can they really push it to its 100% stuff? I don't think they can for a full race.
And
Yeah.
that could well be what defines this season. And you're right in Leclerc at the World Championship. He's still in the lead.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the mentality to win it. Look at the points he's hemorrhaged in 2 races.
Yeah, but I mean this circuit was definitely more suited to Red Bull with that long straight and the speed advantage.
Yeah, but look what happened to him when he was trying to chase down. Was it second or third at Imola, and he fucked it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The Imola thing is fair enough, but I don't think you can say he hemorrhaged points in Miami. He just lost to a faster car and a faster driver.
Over the last 2 races is what I mean. I just don't believe that he's gonna have.
I think
I don't believe
his lead was
he's-
artificially big, though, wasn't it? I think because of the issues that Red Bull
Yeah.
have had so far.
Yeah.
If they get on top of that, then his lead was never really as big as it was.
Let's see
Yeah.
what Ferrari come up with.
Don't get me
'Cause
wrong.
It's up to Ferrari to produce the car.
There
for
is,
him,
I mean,
really.
there is the inevitable Ferrariing as well. At some point, they'll Ferrari it up.
I
Oh,
think
yes.
that's the thing. I think that's the thing. I don't believe if those cars are, because Charles Leclerc was asked what the biggest difference between the cars was, and he said color this weekend, and I don't believe
Yeah,
that
they're both identical shades of grey.
in equal machinery, I don't believe he's capable of beating Max Verstappen.
It
Well,
depends.
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
But it depends what if Ferrari give him a car that's better than the Red Bull, which they haven't
Yeah.
done yet.
That's fine, but I think it's going to have to be markedly better, because I think Verstappen, in a car that's not quite as good as the Ferrari, can still beat Leclerc.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, it will be interesting to see how Ferrari come up with doing something to match the straight line pace. I mean,
Illegally, probably.
well, yes. If we look at the races that are coming up, Spain's going to be a leveler.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Monaco you can't count.
no,
Except it does count for the championship.
That's the problem. Monaco all depends on
Qualifying.
when you get your qualifying running.
And not driving into a
Charles
wall.
Leclerc will end that race in bits,
Probably. That is traditionally how he ends Monaco.
and he's got
That's if
all
he
the
even
pressure,
starts.
all the pressure on him. He's in a Ferrari. He's fighting for a championship. It's his home race. All the fucking hallmarks of Charles Leclerc looking at a pile of carbon fiber.
Yeah, we'll see this year if he comes back, if he is a bottler or not. And then
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that, Baku, which that's got Red Bull written all over it.
Yeah.
Currently, yes.
Although it's Baku, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah, that's
That could be the Bottas win.
everybody else runs into a flock of pigeons on the final corner, and Bottas just picks his
Ericsson
way
puts
through
them in a
Cavendish.
wall.
Yeah,
No. It is one of the best drives of Valtteri Bottas's career when he pipped Lance Stroll to second place.
Yeah,
and
Yeah, it
also
was.
Pit Lance Stroll to second place.
What?
And well, I mean, it was one of the best drives when he did it, and it was one of the best things that he ever did when he did it.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah.
Okay.
That
I tell you what, though,
that worked in my head a lot better than it worked in my mouth.
Now you know how I felt earlier.
If it was a distraction tactic, it was fucking bang on.
Aston Martin, Mercedes, Aston Martin. That's how I felt before.
I'm dead good at word, me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if Red Bull are faster in Spain, Ferrari are fucked. I think that's the thing. If we go to a track where they've just been done on a high speed track, and if we go to the technical track where they should be better, and if the updates Red Bull brought, and I'm sure are going to bring to Spain as well, if they are ahead of Ferrari, it's almost championship done, I'm afraid.
If Red Bull are faster than Ferrari, it will come from on high in the secret darkened room with the Ferrari cabal in there. Passed down to the team. Execute Order 66. It's one for the Star Wars fans.
Two times 33.
Yeah. Execute 33 twice.
This is where this guy walks out of the meeting and goes, "What happened, Gary? I don't know, Mario. I think he wants us to cheat again."
That's the bunny. Got to say, the start that Max got was absolutely fantastic.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was bloody rapid from the off, and
It was fair to the racing with Carlos Sainz was very fair, firm but fair.
Brave as well. Brave.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how a start should be. You shouldn't really be trying to kill somebody on the start.
I think it was brave as well, just given the bad luck that Carlos Sainz has had.
That's true. He has had a habit of just finding people on the first lap, hasn't he?
Yeah, or sliding into the person who's right next to him. So to go first lap, I think I'll just put myself next to
Yeah,
Carlos
this will be
Sainz.
fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Pardon me. Yeah, he's had. I mean, Sainz has had a bad few weeks.
You could tell how hard he worked yesterday as well, because his hair was not flawless at the end of the race.
No, it wasn't.
He did not enjoy the post-race interview with Willie T. Ribbs.
No.
No, that was fucking hilarious.
I think all in all, it wasn't a legendary day for interviewing, was it?
No.
No.
You know, I mean,
It was funny that when he was interviewing Sainz, though, because like he said, "I've got a question for you," and then proceeded to ask 3 different questions in one sentence.
I mean, you wouldn't have seen it watching F1 TV, but Brundle's grid walk was just. I mean, he got a word out of a Williams sister,
That was the best bit.
and then it went
David
south.
Beckham crashing the anthem.
Yeah, Beckham crashing the anthem. Khaled on What the Fuck Knows. I think Pharrell had obviously been in someone's hospitality. And then there was the...
Mario Andretti certainly had.
Oh, he'd had a very good day. But he's in a McLaren, apparently, at Austin. That was agreed. A handshake took place.
Although there has to be a bet, according to Zach Brown.
Yes. But yeah, I think the Patrick Mahomes basketball incident was the main highlight.
See, the interviews with countless celebrities that clearly don't want to be interviewed on Formula One grids, that annoys me so much more than any pomp and circumstance that could come from a Formula One race.
It does beg the question, doesn't it? Why did they so want to interview Patrick Mahomes, who Brundle clearly had no idea who he was? The guy he ended up interviewing who wasn't Patrick Mahomes clearly had no idea who Brundle was, but was prepared to be polite about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, go and find someone who actually knows what's going on.
Which you couldn't do because the grid was too rammed with celebrities.
Oh, there was a random, wasn't there? Did he interview some random guy?
Who said he was a social media influencer?
I don't think he was. I did not feel that guy's influence.
No. Can't even remember his name or his Instagram handle.
No.
I just think this. I don't. Maybe it's just me. I feel the importance of celebrity seems to be disappearing slightly from some of these people, and when they're only going to a place to be seen,
Mm.
and then you've got somebody that comes up to you that's on the biggest broadcast of that particular thing over the course of the weekend, and you still can't muster the self to be not a twat about it. I don't understand if they just stopped doing the grid walk interviews and just focused on the cars, you would find within 3 races time every Williams sister or fucking footballer would want to be interviewed because they'd be being ignored. He's given them the opportunity to be arrogant, and I think that's what really gets to me.
Well, he made a point of going after the Williams sisters because of the amount of times he's been ignored by him in the past.
Venus managed to string a sentence together this time.
Yeah.
But it's not good telly, is it?
It is not.
It's kind of become a big in joke.
Yeah, but it's a big in joke to some people. But
That's the idea of an in joke.
no, but then it doesn't work on national television.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. US gave James Corden a chat, sure.
Well, I mean, that was a deal. That was a deal. We took Piers Morgan back. They got James Corden. They've reneged on that because he seems to be coming fucking back here.
Yeah,
and there's no sign of us being able to send Morgan back over there. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems
It was pure
it's
car crash, but I kind of couldn't take my
worse.
eyes off it.
I don't know. I think when you've got something like the this race, which is although it's still a Formula One race, and we shouldn't get all upset about it, and everyone should just sit down and watch Formula One and enjoy it and all that sort of lovely stuff. That those type of races and those events are to attract new people. They're because for people seem to forget that we went through this huge time of Formula One where we wonder if we were even going to have a sport in a few months because we were hemorrhaging viewers in the Bernie era. You know, it was inaccessible. People were getting fucking takedowns on YouTube just for fucking fan clips of people filming cars at the race, you know, on the mobile and uploading them to YouTube and having them ripped down. And it was so anti-fan. And whether people like it or not, Drive to Survive has done its job. Last season being a great season has done its job. I just don't think when you've had all these good things add up, it makes the sport look good when people that are guests of the sport can't even be bothered speaking to the modern day Murray Walker.
The thing is, though, I mean, a lot of the so-called celebs are on the grid for shameless self-promotion. Don't forget, what we experienced this weekend, and this thought's just occurred to me now, this was the American Monaco.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think this might be why they're thinking that they can get rid of Monaco as well.
Yeah, because at least we got some semblance of a race this weekend. You don't even get that at Monaco.
Yeah, this was better than Monaco. I would take everything that happened this weekend over Monaco any day.
Just maybe with Mick Schumacher getting his first points at some point.
Excuse me, I've got a bit of a thing in the throat.
So that, I think, pretty much covers it. So, normally it would be rock stars and wankers, but because of where the stadium was, hard rock stars and wankers.
Hey!
I've been sat on that since yesterday afternoon.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't open with it.
Right, rock stars, not Patrick Mahomes. I know he's a college basketball player, but I can't remember his name. It's
Paolo Banchero, I think, something like that. He's meant to be one of the number one, or potentially the number one pick in the NBA draft, I believe, this year.
What else we got for rock stars? Albon, or his hair, certainly.
Albon's definitely a rock star.
The W Series podium because they were presented with a guitar. They looked a bit confused by the situation, but they were presented with a guitar,
That's amazing.
presumably from the Hard Rock Corporation.
Is football helmets Rockstar?
I don't know.
No, they look like Steelers helmets, so therefore
they
wankers.
looked a bit naff.
Yeah.
Although Max did get given a Dolphins helmet.
I tell you what was a wanker, and this is okay. This might be a slight in joke, but here we are. The podium situation where they took Max Verstappen for a little drive first.
Yeah, that was a
It was-
hassle.
It was like they were recreating Bill Goldberg's entrance. It was. Did anyone that remembers Bill Goldberg? He always used to have to enter the arena with security, like a police escort, and it was exactly the fucking same.
Another rock star, the lack of pitbull.
Yes.
That's good.
Not cited all weekend.
Can I have a controversial wank?
Just don't do
The,
it in public again.
Formula One fans for having a reasonably good race, which had a reasonably cool build-up, and still not being happy with it.
Yeah, but you go looking for the negatives on social media like anything positively charged.
You couldn't fucking not see them. I don't search like Miami shit. I just look at social media.
Miami Shit is not a TV show. I remember it.
But I just
That was the remake that was on Channel 5.
I'm just going to look up Miami shit just to see what happens.
Don't use your work phone.
No, I'm not on my work.
Auf Wiedersehen, shite.
Like a Tech Pro barrier at turn 16. That's down as a wanker because they said it met the circuit too narrow, but then everybody ran into it.
Yeah. Was it Carlos Sainz who hit it first, and then Ocon on Saturday?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Something needed doing with that.
I mean, I know we didn't quite have the chaos that we thought maybe might come with the race, but even though we didn't get a lot of overtakes, I kind of want to put the circuit down as a rock star because
It was all right. It was okay.
and it was hard. Like it was tough on the drivers. They had to
So
fucking
definite
work.
hard rock star.
Yeah, they had to work. They came out of the cars. They were fucking hot, sweaty. You know, you saw cars. There was so many near misses, and the amount of people you saw either take too much curb or almost lose it through that chicane. I heard someone refer to that chicane as like, oh, they put a Mickey Mouse chicane in it.
Lewis Hamilton called it like a B&Q car park.
Well, it's because he's not winning, isn't it? If he'd won,
It's 'cause he doesn't shop at B&Q, I suspect.
Race in America, yeah, you guys. So yeah.
No, he just called the chicane like a B&Q car park, not the entire circuit.
Because he goes to B&Q.
Right. But the thing is, how can it be a Mickey Mouse chicane? It's fucking uphill and then off camber and then downhill again. It's a difficult chicane. It's cool. The same people that call it Mickey Mouse are probably the same people that years ago was saying, "Oh God, I can't believe we took the bus stop out of Spa."
Now you just get taken out at the bus stop.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the circuit.
We've gathered.
Hey, this is my fucking face turn. I'm being I'm pro Formula One. It's a fucking great sport. We're having a good season. Smile more, people.
Who the fuck are you and what have you done with Lee? How's the search for Miami shit going?
It didn't yield anything particularly unexpected.
Just lots of pitbull.
No pitbull, because there was no pitbull there.
Let down.
Definitely not. Right, I think that about does it for this week, doesn't it? Just to say, if you want to get the shows early and support us, then you can sign up to Patreon at patreon.com/3legs4wheels, little as $1 or £1 or €1 a month. And it basically keeps us ticking over and keeps Lee in therapy.
Oh, that ship has fucking sailed.
If you want to get in touch, then we're at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on all the usual social suspects, and obviously we've got the website 3legs4wheels.com. Get a link to the Discord server on there where there's always chat going on during the week, even when it's not a race week. And email any questions, comments, whatever you've got to threelegs4wheels@gmail.com. If you want to get hold of us individually on Twitter, we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
At A Total Shunt.
and at Pablo100. Right, we'll be back next week. This is 3 weeks in a row we've been on time. Let's see if we can keep the streak going.
Going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hat-trick next week.
Yeah, preview of the Spanish Grand Prix and whatever the hell happens between now and then, which, given current form, is going to be some fucking Tuesday news. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
revoir.
Bye.